What's good, y'all? It's your boy Lazarus back at it again with another video. And this is, Reddit posts that be happening in the dating world. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, it be getting wild. It be getting really wild in this spectrum. So, we're going to get into it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, and subscribe. And share the video. You feel me? And if you have any, things around this topic to send to me, you know what I'm saying? Send it to me on the gram. My Instagram is down below, you feel me? And we're gonna get into it. Also, if you want to stay up to date with me, Instagram is the best way too. Let's get it.
Ex-girlfriend wouldn't let me break the lease, so I walked in on her with her new boyfriend. I posted this a couple of months ago on malicious compliance and a bunch of people suggested I post it here. I finally got around to it, so here you go. Just a quick note to head off a distraction from the last time I posted. I live in a big, expensive city in California. It is quite common for multiple people to live in a studio or 1BD, or people to share a room even if they're not dating, and so on. Basically, it makes rent more affordable. And we are pretty good at putting up room dividers, or sheets if you want to make a sleeping area, and so on. Okay, now on to the fun. This happened about 10 years ago. I was dating this girl for a year and things were going pretty well. Both of the leases on our separate apartments were coming up for renewal, and we decided to get a place together so our relationship would go to the next level and we'd also save a good bit of money. At the time, I could really see myself with this girl. So, we signed a year lease on a new place, and for the first 4 months or so things are great. Then our relationship starts to fall apart. Not assigning blame here. You know how it is. It just didn't work out. The bummer though was she started to get pretty nasty to me, and after a few really ugly fights I decided to move out in a hurry. I got a cheap place across town and moved out on a Saturday because I just couldn't bear it anymore. So after about a week, I cool off enough to call her and ask her to get a new roommate and take me off the lease. She says no. I don't have time to get a new roomie and I can't afford the place alone. So, for the next 2 weeks I find 2 mutual friends willing to move in. She rejects them for stupid reasons and hasn't lifted a finger to find a suitable roommate. It dawns on me that she intends to live in this place alone for the next 8 months while I pay half the rent and half the utilities. Hell no. At this point I am pissed. I am now paying 2 leases and utilities and so on. I got some
Heck to the freak, no, we ain't doing that over here.
money in the bank, so I am not in danger, but I can't afford to do this for long. And it just isn't reasonable. I had found out during our week without contact that she had already started dating another guy. I know that is super quick, a few days from our breakup, but I have no evidence she ever cheated, so no big deal. However, I did know that my ex was insatiable and we had tax every morning we were together like clockwork. She had to get out of the house to make work by about 8:45 a.m. so we had tax at about 7:45 a.m. or so every morning. Our relationship had its positive aspects, and her being really into and amazingly good at tax was one of the good parts. So, anyway, I hatch a plan to get out of the lease. So, the next morning I get to our old place about 7:45 a.m. and wait in my truck until 7:50 a.m. figuring I knew her well enough to know it was good timing. Our place was a studio and our old bed was across from the front door, and to the right was a little kitchen dining area. So I turned the key and opened the door as fast as possible, and I was not disappointed. My ex was riding this guy and I make eye contact with him, lol. I'll never forget the look of shock maybe mixed with shame on his face. She rolls off him and pulls the covers up over them. They are both naked. Don't mind me, I say, and I go into the cupboard. Get some of the Lucky Charms that I bought that is still in there. I pour a bowl, add some milk, and start chowing down, ignoring them. The dude can't move because his clothes aren't nearby. My ex is like, get the hell out of here. And I say I am still on this lease.
This fool crazy. He crazy. He real crazy, man.
This is my place, but you go ahead. Don't let me interrupt you. She starts screaming at me, curses me out, throws a couple of shoes at me, misses, and basically has a meltdown from the bed while I calmly eat my cereal for about 15 minutes.
This dude is savage. He a savage, homie. This dude is savage, dog.
Then I say, oh, will you look at the time? I gotta get to work. The dude didn't move an inch or open his mouth. The next day I open the door at 7:40 a.m. this time. Her and her new boy are awake and dressed. I say, oh, good morning. I have bagels. With a totally
This dude said, so hey, good morning. I have bagel. Y'all what's up? Nah, This is actually a good strategy. He's using a good strategy.
cheery smile. I put the bag of bagels and cream cheese on the counter and say I'm just gonna get a shower real quick. She is calmer this time but starts swearing. She's gone when I get out of the shower. So I make a bagel and head out myself. I show up again at about 8 p.m. with some chipple. They are sitting on the bed watching TV. I sit at the counter on a bar stool, start tearing into my burrito, and start chatting like I am their best friend. So what are we watching tonight? Oh awesome. I haven't seen that show in years. Cool. I stay for
This dude, bruh. I don't know about y'all, but he is a complete savage, dog. Complete savage.
about 30 minutes, eating my burrito and then asking the guy stupid questions. Just being super annoying. I recognize him from her friend group, but I honestly don't know his name. He seems super nervous and doesn't say much. My ex is really pissed and is fuming. The third morning I show up at 7:45 a.m. They aren't there. I take a shower, eat some cereal, and leave a polite note about how I am sorry I missed them and I'll see them tonight. That day at work I got a bunch of faxes from my ex requesting my signature on a new lease on the apartment, as well as signatures canceling our power, water, cable, and internet bills. I really enjoyed signing all those and faxing them back. I never saw or heard from either of them again. Usually these types of stories drag on and on, but
Bro, that was funny. I don't know about y'all, but that was hilarious. This dude literally pulled up while they was doing their thing. He was like, "Look, don't mind me, I'm gonna give you some Lucky Charms real quick. You still got that in the cabinet? Alright, for sure." But this dude is hilarious. All because she wouldn't get him off the leash, so he kept on coming over there to annoy her. That's the smartest thing to do. Before he goes to work, that's the smartest thing to do, dog. He was smooth with that. He was like, got him. Signed and everything. He was like, got that young stuff. Yeah.
your writing is good and I loved everything about this. Thank you. I appreciate the encouragement. Second story. My 19 female biological father's 45 male wife 40 female said she wants me to leave them alone.
Huh? So she's 19. She's 19, and her biological father's wife, so that's her stepmom, who is 40, wants me to leave them alone.
Non-romantic. Okay, this is gonna be kinda long because the amount of drama leading up to this is ridiculous. Usually I just summarize, but the context is important. I'm gonna change names and specific locations cause I don't want to get tracked down and found out and stuff. Backstory. It all started a few months before I was even conceived. My biological mother, let's call her Chloe, was engaged to a man who we will call Carl. So Chloe was working at a Walmart while engaged to Carl, and decided to cheat on him with her boss, who we'll call Harold. So Harold had
It's always the co-workers sleeping with the boss, bro. All the doggone time. And I don't know about y'all, to the homies, and to the woman, but this is exactly why we think hypergamy is real. Because y'all don't sleep with the co-workers that have the same doggone occupation as y'all at times. Y'all usually sleep with the bosses first. Usually. Y'all sleep with the bosses first. So it's just like, and we're not supposed to believe hypergamy is real?
had no idea Chloe was engaged until they had been dating for a while. Things are going well between them until one day Harold catches Chloe on a date with his best friend. This leads to a big fight where Chloe hits Harold and he has to lock her out of the house to protect himself. She calls the police on him, and due to the crappy domestic dispute laws in their state, they both spend the night in jail. Somehow Harold is blamed for the incident and is ordered to take 2 years of anger management, and decides to never speak to Chloe again. A few weeks later Harold gets a text from one of his friends, telling him that Chloe is pregnant and that Harold is the father. He immediately calls bullshit, because Chloe is not only engaged to another man who is probably the father, but was also being intimate with many other men. So he brushes it off and forgets about it. A couple months pass, and Harold gets a call from an adoption agency saying that they need to talk to him. Chloe has decided to give the baby, hey, that's me, up for adoption, and Harold needs to sign some papers since she put him down as the father. He agrees to sit down with someone from the agency, but only to talk to them about the claims. So he meets a representative and tells them that he doesn't think he's the father. The guy from the agency goes, "Oh, great, just sign here then," and hands Harold the documents to surrender his rights as a father. Harold signs them and doesn't hear anything from them again. Meanwhile with Chloe, she has the baby with her fiancé in the room. which gives me infinite respect for him. And the baby is adopted 3 days later. Unfortunately, the baby who is me was born with a slew of genetic illnesses, and I end up in the hospital only 20 days later because my kidney was collapsing in on itself. To save time, let's just say that growing up I spent a disgusting amount of time in the hospital. My health was in a perpetual downward spiral, and every time we found a solution to one problem, a new one would pop up and wreak havoc on my tiny body. It all came to a head one day when I was 13, when I was in so much pain that my doctors thought I was having a heart attack. I wasn't, but hadn't been diagnosed yet, so they had no clue. So after being told by my doctors in the hospital that I had a heart attack, my adopted dad, who we'll call Marcus, freaked out and finally reached out to Harold for the first time. He asked for his medical records so that they could better assess the situation and decide what to do. Here is where the problem started. The first incident. So while I was busy being cripplingly ill, Harold had forgotten all about me and started a new life with a woman he met a month after my birth. Let's call her Heather because she reminds me of Heather Duke. They had 2 sons at the time, and Harold hadn't told Heather anything about maybe having another kid. To clarify, I wasn't there for this part, so I am only telling what I have been told happened. So Heather finds the email that my dad sent to Harold and absolutely loses her mind. She thinks he cheated on her or something, and blocks my dad on Facebook and starts messaging Chloe on Facebook. Now this is where the story gets a little tricky. I have been told 2 different versions of this event, and honestly I'm not 100% sure which one is true. So I'll just tell both. Chloe's version: Heather started sending mass amount of hate and harassment to Chloe, basically telling her to step off and get away from her man. Heather insisted that Harold wasn't the father, and Chloe was lying. By this point in time Chloe was already married, and had 2 daughters that she kept, one who belonged to her old fiancé, and one who belonged to her current husband, and had also built a relationship with me. She read me some of the messages that Heather sent during a weekend I was spending with her and my half-sister almost 4 years later. She said, I quote, "Her grammar was atrocious, but I didn't think correcting it was the right way to go." Heather's version: Heather reached out to Chloe to talk to her about the situation and what she wanted them to do. Chloe snapped at her and said there was no way that my parents would put me through a paternity test, because Chloe said that. They decided not to pursue the test. After these communications all contact was lost and my dad lost Harold's cell phone number. The whole interaction ended with no paternity test, and no medical records. Recent events. Okay, now that that's out of the way, here is what has happened in the last month. So my health has progressively gotten worse and I now have to apply for disability if I want to pay for my ungodly amount of medications. The lawyer I hired said that having a full family medical history might be helpful. So I asked my super smart friend to track Harold down so I could contact him. Long story short, I got his number and I left him a voicemail that was basically me just begging him to help me and that I was sorry for intruding on his life, and begging for him not yell at me. He called back after like 20 minutes, and to my extreme surprise he was happy to hear from me. He said that not contacting me was one of the biggest regrets of his life. We cried together on the phone, and I told him about the genetic disorders I have and how I was worried for his kids. He assured me that they were healthy, and I cried cause I was relieved. We talked throughout the week until eventually he had to fly home from his business trip and tell his wife what was going on. Needless to say, it did not go well. Heather was pissed and demanded that we limit contact until the results of the paternity test came in. Unfortunately for her, it came back positive and confirmed that I am his daughter. Here is where the story gets sticky again, because I have been told 2 different versions of what happened during the last week. Harold's version: Harold and Heather got in a big fight and she made him tell her sons what he did. Maybe it was meant to humiliate him, but if so it backfired because his sons were so excited to have a sister. One of them compared me to Shazam, I think. Harold left to go on another trip for work, and he and Heather fought right before he left for the airport. He called me while he drove there and told me all of this, and said that he didn't want to lose contact with me again. I was so happy he still wanted me around, but I was sad that I screwed up his family. He told me it wasn't my fault, but I still felt bad. I got Heather's version of events much later. At 11 p.m. when I was trying to eat my ramen, she messaged me on Facebook and claimed that this is what really happened. Heather's version: Harold was unhappy about the test and said that I was too much too fast, but wouldn't tell me that because he didn't want to hurt my feelings. They told their sons and they weren't happy about it either. She told me that Harold hardly has time for his kids, and I was forcing your way in. Now I am a very sensitive person and have a habit of breaking down over the smallest things because of other stuff that's happened in my past, but that's not relevant right now, which is why I'm very proud of how I handled this. I texted Harold and told him that his wife had contacted me, and within seconds he had called me and asked me to read what she had said. I read it to him and also read the apology I sent to her. He apologized on her behalf and asked if I was okay because I sounded like I was crying, which I was, but I didn't want him to feel bad, so I just told him I was fine and I was just tired. I asked him what I should do and he told me to just be myself. So I apologized to her again and again while she snapped at me, and eventually she stopped and I got to go to bed. Things were quiet after that, and I tried not to message them because I didn't want to get yelled at again. This morning I got diagnosed with severe scoliosis and yesterday with epilepsy. And since those are usually genetic, I texted Harold and told him he might want to get his sons tested for it. Apparently this was a bad idea because Heather proceeds to message me and tell me to stop texting them and that I was not helping their marriage. I tried to explain that I was just trying to help, and asking her to please stop lashing out at me, but she just texted back with "I'm not lashing out. We just want you to leave us alone." I haven't responded back because her message really hurt and I just shut down and fell asleep to cope. I apologized to Harold, but he hasn't replied to the text, which is making me think that maybe they really do want me to leave them alone. But I also know that Harold told me the exact opposite. My anxiety is having a field day and I have absolutely no idea what to do. My main goal in this situation is to preserve my relationship with Harold and try to get Heather to like me. What do I do? Too long didn't read. Biological dad's wife doesn't want me around at all and keeps telling me things that I know aren't true because biological dad already told me the truth. Now she is claiming that they want me to leave them alone, even though he told me he wanted to build a relationship. Help please. Update. Hello. Sorry this update has taken a while to come out, but I promise, there is a good reason for it. My girlfriend drove down to visit me for a week and I was preoccupied spending time with her. I was really hoping that the news I have to share with you would change. So long story short, I took the advice I was given and muted Heather's messages to me. The stuff she was saying to me has really gotten to me, and at this point I'm not quite sure if I'm the bad guy. I called Harold and talked to him about the situation, and told him that I don't think it is in my best interest to be talking to his wife. This is where things took a bit of a sad turn. Harold agreed with his wife and said it would be best if I just left them alone for a while. I was stunned for a few moments, because this is the opposite of what he had told me less than 24 hours earlier. That said, even if he had said something else beforehand, I know that I have to respect his decision. I told him that I would stop all contact, and when he is ready to talk again it will be on him to message me. That's where the call ended, and we haven't spoken since. It sucks. I'm kinda hurt. I know I have no right to be hurt about it, but I still am. I've come to the decision that it's not my job to make them like me. This was probably not going to end any other way. It's painful, but it's the world we live in. I'm sorry I don't have a happier ending to share, but I'd still like to thank you guys for the amount of support and loving messages I received on my first post. I don't think I could have endured this without you guys, and the validation you provided me. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to send such kind messages and helpful advice. I appreciate each and every one of you, and am sending virtual hugs. Too long didn't read. Harold's wife got to him, and there is no more contact. She won, and I am leaving them alone. Fourth story. Caught my fiance kissing another woman. I am 43 and my
That all happened because there was some freaking sexual endeavors at work. Crazy, man. Crazy.
fiance F43 had a friend of hers over Saturday night for dinner. She has not seen this friend for several years, and so it was supposed to be an opportunity to catch up. Both my fiance and her friend were drinking white wine, but I was not drinking as I wanted to be hangover free to look after our toddler in the morning. Partway through the evening my fiance starts going on about how beautiful her friend is and then shows me explicit photos of her to me. I am not comfortable with this. It has happened in the past with another of her friends, and I said at the time that I was not comfortable and it didn't seem like normal behavior. Despite this has happened, and she was also actively encouraging me to flirt with her friend and told me I was in a safe space and that she would not mind. Again, I was not comfortable as I barely know this person.
Bro, she's trying to set y'all up for a threesome, and you declined it not only once but twice. And she's bringing it up. That means that's something she's into. You need to think carefully who you trying to marry, G. Really think carefully.
Fast forward to bedtime and my fiance helped her friend to the sofa. Shortly after I walked in and found them passionately kissing. They stopped and giggled and I walked out in shock. Moments later I walked back in to ask my fiance if she was coming to bed and they were kissing again. I hit the roof. Had the situation been reversed I would have been packing my bags. I feel like by showing me photos of her friends in this way I am being tempted or set up. She maintains she has no interest in women at all. Her excuse was the alcohol, but again it would not be accepted if the situation was reversed. My trust has been well and truly broken. Confused. Hurt. Betrayed. I don't know what to do. 5 story. My wife cheated and...
Bro, they wanted a threesome. Like how slow could you be? Oh my.
Took my kid across country. We moved from San Antonio. She accused me of receiving text. She accused me of cheating. Destroyed our app. Tear my marriage certificate in my face. After the hell in earth she kicked me out. No, I was not cheating. The text she mentioned me that she saw while I was asleep was gone. No, I did not deleted anything. I was asleep because I needed to work in the early morning. She wakes me up with the hardest slap she could and started yelling at me. Long story short, I forgive her for acting like that I took the blame even though I had no idea what was happening. We decided that a new start would do us good and for our baby. We moved to NC. Time passed and things calmed down drastically. I felt like we had moved on and that it did us good. She then told me 3 months ago that she needed to take our kid back to San Antonio for the rest of vaccinations. She told me here in NC they didn't accept my baby boy's insurance. I knew she was just using it as an excuse to go see her parents later on. She told me she wanted to see them. I paid for her ticket way and back. She kept on telling me she was staying longer just because she wanted time for herself. She missed her friends, blah blah. I agree. Originally was going to be 2-week trip and it extended to a month and a half. I was super excited for their comeback. She arrived on Monday and went to say hi to me on my job. I felt her differently. She closed her lips when I leaned over and kissed her. Strange. Thursday comes and I asked her why. She posted on her Facebook, basically telling you lost a queen. Treat me better or some SHT like that. Confronted her, she exploded, overreacted, and talked to her mom to buy her tickets to leave Friday. She needed time to find herself and to heal. She said it. I told her okay, it's fine, I support you, just don't take my son. She left Friday morning without telling me and took my kid. I just found out she's cheating on me with a 33-year-old bag of SHT. She's 19, she won't let me see my kid, not even a photo, barely speaks to me and blame it on me for leaving. She doesn't know that I know she's cheating. And she's saying she will come back, not now. I'm desperate. I don't want to do anything stupid or confront her. Help me please. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing for more videos.
Wow. All I have to say to that is, homie, oh gosh, bro. She cheated and accused you of cheating? To me, she was just making an excuse for her to do something. Man, just careful who you doggone sleep with, bro. Really, just be careful who you doggone sleep with. It's imperative that you be careful who you sleep with, man. I'm serious. Careful. Talk to the people. Talk to the person that you're trying to connect with. And if you have no connection, cut it off instantly so you won't go through some problems, man. Please. Please, for the sake of yourself, man. That's all I gotta say to this video, man. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. And let me know what y'all think down below. You feel me? Follow me on the gram if you need to send me something like this, you know what I'm saying, to react to, or just to keep up to date with me. And I'll catch y'all in the next one. Deuces.
Yeah. Yeah. Kingdom grind. We don't want no dimes. I'm rich this time. Pay the crap, no mind. Traffic work. I'm